Yes, welcome back. And I told you that when we're back from that break, we'll be having our guests in the house. We'll be discussing the issue before us today. We'll be talking about the federal government palliative, state data collection and analysis. And with me in the studio this morning is Barrister Felix Alunge, SSA to the Governor on Social Investment. It's nice to have you, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's nice to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, since the removal of first subsidy, Nigerians have been complaining, mourning about the hardships and how life has become almost unbearable, for people. Well, thankfully, the federal government has also rolled out some palliative measures with several criticism across board. The NLC is saying that the palliative is ill-timed and should cut across board, not just to the vulnerable and all that. What's your take on all these issues?
Thank you. That we now have a new administration. To the glory of God, we now have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president of Nigeria. And the issue of removal of subsidy is something that virtually every Nigerian believes that it is of necessity at this material time because of the economy reality that is facing Nigeria, that the big monster, the big elephant, that is the inner room, must be taken care of for the good of every Nigerian. And for every step towards prosperity, people have to bear some pains. People have to make some sacrifices. It is, I cannot say it is unfortunate, but it is of utmost necessity at this particular time to support Mr. President on the removal of subsidy. Because during the electionary campaign, all the major political gladiators, particularly the presidential candidates, all of them subscribed to the issue of removal of a subsidy. On the day of inauguration, Mr. President said a subsidy is gone. And he himself has actually prepared ways and means to ensure that there must be some cushion programs that will help to elevate the sovereignty of Nigerians. The strategies and methodology to do this thing is not easily, that can easily be phantom. So that, Mr. President was coming with some approaches based on the World, the World Bank decided to give Nigeria support. And that was the basis of giving the $800 million US, that if Nigeria could go ahead to remove the subsidy, that the grants of $800 million US will be given. And it was given to Nigeria. Yes. And to actually assist the poor and the vulnerable, because they know that it is at that particular level that they are going to suffer so much. And in doing that, World Bank, before this time, has gotten what is known as the Social Register for Nigeria, based on certain guidelines approved by the federal government of Nigeria, subscribed to by the National Assembly, and which all the 36 states and FCT went ahead for the past 8 years to carry out some enumeration based on technical...
We get to the issue of enumeration, because we've been on the issue of the census for a while now in Nigeria. Nigeria has not been able to conduct census, which ought to be normally after, within the intervals of every 10 years. Last year was supposed to be done. This year we're hoping and all that. We'll come back to that.
Yes.
But looking at it, yes, where you were talking, you mentioned the issue of strategies,
yes,
and planning. Don't you think the for instance, the NLC and some other stakeholders believe that it is ill-timed. Yes, they all agreed that it is a good thing for the subsidy to go, but it's as if the president didn't plan ahead. What we're having now is reactive. You know, it's a reaction to
yes.
to what the removal of subsidy has caused the society. It isn't as if it was planned, or there are stages of how to cushion the effect. And this, the NLC is querying because they have laid before the president earlier on, even the government, the previous government,
Yes.
what needs to be done before the subsidy is removed. Do you think if these things were taken into cognizance before the removal of subsidy, we'll be having these hardships we're talking about? For instance, the creation of the refineries that should be functioning locally, and the issue of wages too.
Let me tell you the issue of coming out with mentors and strategies to ensure that Nigerians don't feel hardship as far as the removal of subsidy has been on board even since 1999. And even as a matter of fact, 2012, subsidy was removed. And for a period of 12 months, we were buying fuel, there was not a subsidy at that particular time. But you know, Nigerians,
so people were crying foul.
People were crying foul. This and
the
that.
APC party then too, as opposition.
Yes, as opposition at that particular time. It is just unfortunate that in politics, the essence of political competition is to get the political power. And without the political power, there's no way your party or yourself can be in seat of government. And it's just unfortunate that if we have gone ahead to support the government of the day at that particular time,
that was Jonathan's administration.
At least today, maybe oil will not have been more than 100 naira per liter, because other variables must have actually assisted our economy, and the economy multiply effect have been in the positive direction. But it's just unfortunate for every one of us. Even Buhari administration wanted to remove the oil subsidy, but because of the fear that, if oil subsidy was removed at that particular time, will APC be able to win the election? Political consideration actually affected the economy reality at that particular time, and which is not the best. And Mr. President Tinubu now feels that if he should allow Nigerians, the government, let's plan towards the removal of subsidy. You see a lot of jaundice argument, unscientific argument, sentiment, a lot of things like that. At the end of the day, it may not work. And even as a matter of fact, the Nigerian Labour Congress, even during Jonathan, they had interface with Jonathan administration. Buhari, they did the same thing. And what are the ways and means of making sure that our refineries worked? And billions and billions of naira were injected to reactivate those oil refineries. But today, the corruption syndrome in Nigeria, which is the order of the day, actually that the money injected, we didn't see the effect in the reactivation of those refineries today. We don't see it. And at this material time, the Nigerian Labour Congress is working very hard to ensure that this present government is put on its toes. But as far as I'm concerned, maybe people may feel that I'm being sentimental being a member of APC. The pressure is too much on the Mr. President. That the refineries must work within the next 3 days. It must work within the next 3 months. It is not as easy as that, but the pressure is good because the workforce is to be a positive prayer group on government. And even as a matter of fact, the Nigerian Labour Congress is actually doing a lot for the Nigerian masses, to ensure that, Mr. President is very, very serious. And that is why Mr. President told Nigerians, I beg for this job, I apply for this job. And the Nigerians have voted for him, that Nigerians be patient, I'm ready to do this job. So that the pace that every one of us is going through at this particular time is a sacrifice that every one of us have to do for the future, for generation yet unborn. Because if you don't do it, this problem will continue. And as a matter of fact, everybody Is there even a subsidy in reality? And that's why everybody saying it's a scam.
Are you asking before or now?
Before, it is a scam. Even Peter Obi did not believe that. Is it actually true that some people, because some people at that particular time, we just go to the presidency, take paper, go to an APC,
but
and
the
being
people,
paid.
the masses, the people, the members of the public who were getting fuel at a reduced cost, not as high as this. So if you say if there was...
What I'm saying is that, take for instance, the quantity of PMS that was, according to an APC record, that the consumers were taking on daily basis, as of today, which is supposed to be an increment because of our population, is not even up to 40%. The implication is that most of these PMS went outside the borders of Nigeria. And as a matter of fact, most of the petrol stations within the precinct of Nigerian borders are owned by Nigerians, because when they take PMS, maybe at the rate of 180 naira per liter, across border, it is being sold for 800 naira, 1,000 naira. You see, astronomical gain. And the federal government, this Nigerian government, is now subsidizing for foreign citizens. And at the same time, some Nigerians are making dubious revenue to the detriment of Nigerian masses. It means the implication that we are subsidizing for foreign countries. And that is why most of the countries that borders us, some of them, they were not happy with President Tinubu. And some of them did not have the oil refineries at what the essence, when they could get oil at cheaper rate, instead of going into having their own refinery. But at this marital time, so that what Mr. President to do is that he has agreed with the labor. So, let's have a committee on review of minimum wage. What can we do in the area of transportation? What can we do in the area of palliative for the poor and the vulnerable? What can we do as far as small businesses are concerned, small and medium enterprises? What can we do so that when you look at the package, the whole total package of palliatives, cut across a lot of it, multi-sectoral. So at the end of the day, if you are not benefiting from this area, you benefit from this area. If you are not benefiting from this area, and thank God, to make it easily implementable, Mr. President has come with the idea of, okay, let every state have 5 billion naira for the palliative, and the federal government gave guidelines for the use of the 5 billion naira. And now, Nigerians, they have to shine their eyes, and the governors in the various states of Nigeria, they know that it's no longer business as usual. Nigerians are...
Right. Talking about the palliative now, yes, in time past, Nigeria has also seen issues of palliative coming out at certain points. For instance, there was palliative in the time of the lockdown. There's the COVID palliative that eventually became...
Even during the pediatric, they call it a Shopee.
Okay, we had Shopee. We've had several palliative packages, rolled out in Nigeria before, and most of the time they were mad because of mismanagement, or the dissemination was not thorough. Do you see this one any different, given that Nigeria, we do not have accurate statistics? I mean, how do you define the vulnerable? How many are we, even as a nation, is still in doubt? We don't know the accurate number of the population of Nigeria, let alone the demography to know who is vulnerable, who is not. How do you then implement palliative under this circumstance?
Thank you. It is just unfortunate that as far as Nigeria is concerned, we don't know our actual population. And it's very unfortunate, because data is very, very key to carrying out implementation of socio-economic programs and policies. And that is why the World Bank that designed certain measures to assist Nigeria, that insofar we don't have accurate population for Nigeria, and Nigeria is to be assisted, the World Bank now came up with its own guideline that to determine the poor and the vulnerable to be assisted. Because in any nation where the poor and the vulnerable are not taken care of, the economy will not grow. The superstructure must have a solid base. And that is why the World Bank designed its own package of enumeration. How do we target the poor and the vulnerable within the society? How do we target the youth, the poor youth that are vulnerable? How do we target the widow? How do we get the physically challenged within the society that they must be assisted? And that is why the issue of social register came on board. Okay. That insofar, if you don't have accurate population, but we can have technical and scientific methods of getting a sizable number of the poor and the vulnerable within the society. And that is why the issue is, okay, so Nigerian government want to assist you, but you must embark on enumeration of the poor and the vulnerable. And these are the strategies for you to get the poor and the vulnerable. And the guidelines was given to the Nigerian government, and it was debated and approved by the National Assembly in Nigeria. And on the basis of that, for the past 8 years, the issue of compiling the poor and the vulnerable have been on board across board. The vote of political influence, the vote of party coloration, the vote of the governor or any other person having political influence.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm very sure, because that is the major mandate of the office in which our mommy doctor, Mrs. Olubomi Ademosun, is presiding.
Okay, that you're talking about as far as Ondo State is.
Yeah, and that is what happens to this. What happens across all the 36 and FCT. Most of the states that are complaining are getting, as far as are concerned in Ondo State, I want data as far as the poor and the vulnerable are concerned. Our social register is credible and with high level of integrity. Okay. But what actually happens is that, particularly the new governors, the new senators who are just coming on board, because it will not be possible for them to just put any figure or any names in the social register, because these people that have worked for me, these are my own people. As far as politics is concerned, any government after politicking, after election, whether you are in House of Assembly, senator, rep, or governor, or president, see every person as your own, not on the basis of political correlation. These are the people that work for me. They are all Nigerians. They should be well taken care of. And that is why the World Bank now said that this money, as far as the $800 million is concerned, it should be given to the poor and the vulnerable, that in which they have been scientifically identified. And the way it was identified, the process is called community-based targeting enumeration. All those that have their names in the social register, that particularly in those states that I can vouch for, under the supervision of our special advisor, Mrs. Ademosun, and in which our governor, Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, is always be vigilant on what we do. Okay. Everything is generated from unit level to ward level to local government level and to the state level, and transmitted to the national, as it is being done at the various local government level. All the data will be transmitted to the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, to Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja, and to NASCO, where those data across the 30 states are being collated. You cannot come to office, as a commissioner, or as governor, as local government, this is the list, these are my own people. No, it is not done like that. Because we have what is called community sensitization, community engagement, community mobilization, town hall meeting. It is the people being grouped, the youths in that particular community, the widow in that particular community, the market women, the physically challenged, they be in the various areas. It's okay, maybe in a particular local government area, like I go Southwest, in which I come from. And all the various communities in Oko Southwest, like other local governments, have been, there's what a poverty ranking. as countries are ranked on the basis of poverty, the states are also ranked on the basis of poverty. Local government are ranked on the basis of poverty, and states and communities are ranked on the basis of poverty.
Right, so let's come back to Ondo State now.
Yeah.
In Ondo State here, the committee in charge of the palliative, as headed by Honorable Wale Akinterwa, the Commissioner for Finance in Ondo State. Yes, they've ruled out certain guidelines and those who are going to be benefiting from the palliative. I think we heard about some people to be paid 10,000 naira monthly, and also addition to the salaries of pensioners too, and all that. Yes, can you brief us more on the guidelines for the dissemination of palliative in Ondo State?
Okay, thank you. For better knowledge for our people in Ondo State.
Yes.
In Ondo State, we have 18 local governments. And based on what we have done on the basis of getting the social register, because the committee, to a greater extent, will make use of the social register in getting the poor and the vulnerable that will benefit. So that to give the good people of Ondo State the confidence and the trust that the committee will do what is right, and that all the activities of the committee will be transparent and open. Devoid of any primordial sentiment or nepotism, all those things will not be there. And we have 2 or 3 words, so that the process of doing our own, the names we have in the social register, we covered about 2,565 communities do the process of enumeration to get their names in the social register. And today now, we have 230,263 households. And individuals that are in the various households, in totality, is close to 800,000 people in our social register as of today in Ondo State. I know in the wisdom of the committee, either minus or plus, they may still find a way of how do we get more into it. But the larger percentage of the poor and the vulnerable to be given will be taken from the social register, because it has been scientifically determined and tested that it is okay. I know what the committee will still have to do as per that one. The committee may decide, okay, let us do verification of those people, because most of these things have been done for the past 7 years, 6 years, 5 years. Some of them have likely maybe answer the call of nature, that they are no longer in existence, and you cannot be giving palliative to the dead person. And so that I know the committee will. So it's okay. Agogo Southwest. This is we are giving you so number, and there's a money from the social register across the local governments. And I think the committee will go ahead to verify whether those people are actually alive or not, and whether they are even now vulnerable. They may not likely to be vulnerable, because somebody that is vulnerable 5 years ago
is likely out of that vulnerability.
Such name will be struck out.
And some people could have fallen into
so that maybe the committee is okay. We are giving a particular local government 500 vulnerable to be taken care of. At the end of the based on verification, the cabinet discovered that about 50 names are not supposed to be there, maybe because they are no longer vulnerable, they are no longer poor. They've now asked the local government, through one process or the other, submit additional names of 50 and to be added to it. So, but on the whole, what
you're saying in essence is that before the distribution of these palliatives in Ondo State, there's first going to be verification.
At least for the names that are mined from the social register, because I was upset, because if you are saying, palliative is given to a particular person is no longer alive. Are you getting it? Because the committee, the state government wants to be transparent, the state government wants to be open.
When is this verification going to take effect?
No, because I'm not a member of the committee.
Okay.
Are you getting it now? Okay. But I know that everything to be done, according to the chairman, that it is going to be open. Anything to be given to anybody, to any community, it is going to be a public glare. As far as the issue of palliative is concerned, the pensioners will be given 10,000 naira on monthly basis for a particular period of time, depending on affordability, You know, the federal government has supported us with 5 billion naira. And part of the money will be 10,000 naira for the vulnerable for a particular period of time to be given to them on a monthly basis for a particular period. And the civil servants, the public servants in Ondo State, that the leave bonus of 2020 will be paid along with August salary.
Is that emphatic?
Trust Akete. Are you getting now?
All right.
Talk and do now. And all of us are disciples of Akete. Just believe us. Believe what I've said. I've told you, the committee members are carefully selected.
Okay.
Are you getting now? They are carefully selected. They are men of high integrity. And they cannot do otherwise. More so that our guy is not fully on ground, but the hand of a guy is in everything they do. And at the same time, we are going to have food supply. Because federal government wants to give a total package of 800,000 bags of rice before.
Okay.
But as of today, 3,000 came to Ondo State. I'm getting now. And the federal government has to give money in value, at least to the value of the balance of
the remaining.
So that the state government will now procure rice. Okay. I'm getting now. And credible vendors will be given, and it will be packaged.
I'm talking about this.
And according to the committee, that from first week of September,
okay,
the likelihood that people will be given, you know, when you buy and the packaging takes some time, so that this thing is not going to be done in the dark. It is going to be open to everybody. And
sorry, just before you proceed, you know, from previous experiences we've had, for instance, at the time of the answers, yes, you've seen how the youth went to loot some stores, yes, where palliatives, yes, were said to be hoarded. Yes. And, you know, because by the time it's taking time, when the palliative has arrived to the state now for, it was the last week or so, it shouldn't take longer.
It's not going to take a long time. At least I know before the end of September, by the grace of God, at least those are to be considered must have actually got something. Okay. Are you getting must have actually got something?
Okay.
So
that's talking about food items.
Yes, you know, it's not easy for the procurement and the packaging and the distribution. You know, but the committee is going to design the methodology that to make it easy, maybe on senatorial basis, from senatorial to the local government, from local government to the world level, so that people will know that this thing is actually given to X and Y. You know what has actually affected us, as far as issue of stipend that be given to people across the 36 and FCT, particularly in those states, that we don't normally announce the names. People don't know them. Are you getting on? That these people are benefiting. Even somebody who is in your, that is your closet is taking 10,000 naira on a monthly basis under the social investment, under the cash transfer.
So are you announcing them this time around?
It will be everybody will be no pretense. People know that you are actually collecting this thing, because at the end of the day, we don't want Ondo State to be castigated. We don't want the community to be accused of hoarding or doing something funny. Are you getting it? Because everybody is so vigilant. And you're talking about the NSAS period, that the NSAS period is quite different from this what is happening now. This is a collective jeopardy.
That was also a collective jeopardy. In fact, it was even a worldwide jeopardy.
What actually happened, those things were in the hiding, and Nigerians did not know, were not put into the glare that these things were in the various warehouses. And those in charge of those commodities at that particular time, they have their own evil intention against the general interest of Nigerians. But this time around, Mr. President has announced to over 200 Nigerians that this is what I've given. People are now praising Mr. President. The eyes is now on the governors. That Tinubu has given 5 million. We want to see what Totofio Konachoro will do with our 5 billion in our own state. Are you getting now? And that is why, even in a particular state, that governor of that particular state physically was on ground to monitor whatever is to be done, because they are answerable to Mr. President as far as that 5 billion is a concern. And at the same time, there's going to be what's called a roadshow for those who have small and middle businesses. for them to be given grants to improve their economic activities, to assist their businesses. And that is why those who are doing small businesses, they should make the same available on the time, the date, and when that is to be done, to be announced. There will be a roadshow in which they move from one community to another, from street to street, to actually assist those who are having small businesses. And at the same time, the farmers will be assisted with their farm inputs, also as far as Ondo State is concerned. And the issue of the transportation, the committee has also assured us that buses, before the school resumes, that the buses will be made available to assist our children, our pupils in Ondo State, for them to transport them from, as it was being done before, that it will be restated.
Actually, buses have been given to some strategic locations.
You know, that one is for civil servants.
Yes, for civil servants.
That's what it's about. I was talking about.
Yes, I'm about to say something, but you know that it's not all civil servants that their work span is between 8 to 4. So people like us whose work span is not between 8 to 4, we run shifts and all that. How do we benefit from the transport arrangement?
Like my sister.
There should be something committed to our station, isn't it?
Yeah, you are not vulnerable now. You are not vulnerable.
But we are civil servants.
You are civil servants. You know, when we are talking in terms of democracy, we are talking about the majority.
Okay.
That is the enjoyment of the greatest number. According to Jerry Bentham, that is what is called evolution. When a large proportion of the people are benefiting, it means that government is doing what is expected. Like what are all those things that the committee has rolled out. If you are not benefiting directly, somebody within your precinct is benefiting. And if it's benefiting, you're already benefiting. Like in the social register now, you cannot find any of my family name in the social register. You cannot find any of the name of the family of Dr. Mrs. Ademosu in the social register. Because with their status, with my status, they believe that I'm adequately enough to also give parity to my people as far as the philosophy behind the social register is concerned. I think one or two, some of the politicians, they have been coming to our special advisor. Madam, we must convince adults, this and that and that. Madam explained the process and everything, and they became satisfied. And some of them were given the register of their various towns and villages and local government. Their names, their phone number, the ward, the unit, everything clearly stated there, so that easily you can trace that any person that his name is in social register, there is no
issue. I want to really believe that that is going to be ensured, because there have been instances where such interventions like this are given, and it falls into the hands of people who are already comfortable. In fact, there was a case of one medical doctor who said, I got this alert. He didn't even register for such intervention, and he got it. So are you promising us that in the case of Ondo State now, we're not going to have that?
Let me tell you, as far as Akredulu is concerned, so far, all the various World Bank intervention in terms of JIP, in terms of condition account transfer, in terms of NKS that I've done in Ondo State, all the beneficiaries, they get their money through alert from their various banks. We don't hold money. The money does not come directly to Ondo State government. It goes from Federal Ministry of Finance to the accounts of all the beneficiaries for the past 7 years, so that their monies are not in the hand of anybody. And I know the committee also design strategies in which those who are going to benefit, the money will go directly into their hands to ensure that, because that is the fear of Nigerians, that along the way, this money may likely go go down the drain. Like one of my, at least somebody that I know before, he said that if he's given egg to be given to XY, that before he gets to that, he will be able to at least lick part of it. Are you getting about it? That one will not happen as far as the issue of palliative is concerned. They should have full confidence on Aketi that as far as concerned, the committee is going to do good jobs. And at the same time, the members of the public are also free to give advice on the best way to ensure that this palliative will be fairly and equitably distributed to the good people of Ondo State. Apart from the 5 billion naira, the state government has its own sizable portion that also will be, you are not going to know that only that 5 billion that was, because before Mr. President announced the 5 billion, the committee has gone ahead to work very, very hard. That how do we, but what actually happened is that Ondo State government will have started before this particular time, but they want it to be more meaningful so that instead of giving so number of maybe a bag of Congo, this and that, with the 5 billion naira, it will be larger enough, it will be big enough to assist. And as far as the issue of the social register, the one we were doing before, it was not purely for consumption, it was to assist them because we had a lot of testimonies of the poor and the vulnerable that have actually benefited from the social investment. As far as Ondo State is concerned, a lot of testimonies. For the past 2 or 3 months that they have not received their stipend now, they have been bombarding our office. That what is happening, what is happening, what is happening. And we are explaining that this is a new regime. They have to look into books. That they cannot just stand spending money. That a change of pattern.
Well, that brings me to this question again. When this intervention comes, it's for a particular duration, you understand that, then it lapses. But then, do you think, how many months or years do you think we suffice to say, oh, we're giving out palliative and people are going to be okay? For instance, someone who is unemployed, is vulnerable in that aspect, you're giving 10,000 to him every month without giving him or her a job. When that stops, what happens? It's not an empowerment thing. Maybe it's not as if they're learning a skill that they will be able to leverage on later in life, just giving them money like that. Is that sustainable? With that work, would people not still feel the impact of this tragedy when the palliative stops coming?
Let me tell you, the target, those who are supposed to be those who are supposed to actually benefit, it's going to have a lot of meaningful impact in their life. We are not talking about, there's some way in which over 3 million people in Ondo State will benefit directly from the palliative, but they are talking about the poor and the vulnerable. Sincerely, that 10,000 naira is going to have positive impact in their life. It's going to have positive impact in their life. Don't let us be sentimental and don't let us feel that these things don't go to it's not going to have impact in their life. This we call it maybe to take off the shock. To take off the shock of this, because it's just an emergency. The palliative is an emergency remedy. It is not a total solution, but some of them that are going to benefit at the end of the day, if it is given for 3 months or 6 months, you will see the testimony that people will give at the end of the day that, oh, this 10,000 will be given to me as a tomato seller, me as the person that is selling pomo, that is roasting yam, roasting corn. Because these are the set of people that have their names being vulnerable in the social register. Because it's the extreme poor. The extreme poor. When you say somebody is a widow, but you get to her house, there's plasma television. She's sleeping in a mattress of 12-inch mattress. I get it now. And he's playing a lot of games there. Is that because it's a widow, is still vulnerable? Or you have a children in UK or in US, because it's a widow, is he qualified? It's not qualified. Because the target to be considered, they'll be much appreciative to government.
Yes, though you said you're not a member of the committee, but you seem to have a lot of confidence, in the committee.
Because I know them.
Yes, to do what is right.
Yes.
And
because they'll be having interface with the public on regular basis.
I also want to join my faith with yours to believe that they're going to do what is right. But on a final note, if you look at the disparity between guidelines and actual execution of policies, and especially things like interventions, palliative in Nigeria, it seemed not to be at par. There's always a difference. Yes, the guideline is superb and all that, but when we come to the
implementation, which is the major problem,
it's definitely going to be a different ball game. So how do you think this committee, you're not a member, then what's your advice to them, or how do you think they are going to make sure that they follow the guidelines to the letter, so that the people who are to benefit from this thing are actually the ones who do eventually?
Maybe on a regular basis, you hear from our acting governor, His Excellency Aiyedatiwa, that is presiding on behalf of Mr. Governor, and always advising the committee to do the right thing. Because at now, it's in charge, and we should not entertain any fear as far as we are concerned in Ondo State. From the various social intervention, as far as the whole country is concerned, when Nigeria was ranked on the basis multidimensional poverty ranking, Ondo State is the least poverty rank in Nigeria. We came first because of the transparency in which we execute all the various palliative measures under the social investment program before this time. Because we're so open. Because Mr. Governor did well on the issue of security, he did well on the area of infrastructure. Because it's a multi-dimensional poverty ranking, that is, what is the intervention of government in the various socio-economic variables in a particular state. And then when Nigeria was ranked, we came first. As far as issue of social investment is also concerned, under the last administration, under social investment, we came third in the whole country as a state that is transparent in the disbursement of the stipend and various palliative. As far as the Southwest is concerned, we came first. And we want to maintain that integrity as far as the issue of the various social intervention is concerned. And I know that I can vouch for the integrity and the capacity of the committee members. And the acting governor, His Excellency Aiyedatiwa, is so much concerned that, the committee must not behave otherwise. And on those states, we're highly enlightened, we're highly sophisticated. On those state people, we're going to ask for the last cover of that 5 billion and any other addition. Everybody's talking. As far as this is concerned, it's not the issue that, we don't know whether Mr. President has given us money, but this one is in the public glare. You will know the number of beneficiaries in your local government, in your unit, in your ward, in your town, all those. You will see them. Okay. The rights will be distributed openly to people so that you know the measure to be given out, so that at the end of the day, but like I said, the committee must ensure that there is effective monitoring of the distribution. Distribution centers must be well secured, like what I said, so as to prevent hoodlums or security threats to those that are going to distribute. There must be sufficient security to back up the committee and those that the distribution team, and also the monitoring team. That at the end of the day, we get report that though this thing has done, they done as the committee members are concerned. And maybe the other one that can even add is that it's okay. Apart from committee members, when it will be distributed, maybe opinion leaders within that particular community, religious leaders, both Christians and Muslims, the market women, all those things, they may be at least invited to see what is to be distributed and to also monitor to ensure that the purpose for which the palliative is designed will achieve the desired purpose. All
right, that's for the committee, but for the Nigerians there, for people of Ondo State, the vulnerable and the not so vulnerable, but who are just at the loss of how to cope, with this time. Yes, what's your final words to them?
I just want to appreciate Nigerians for their patience. Nigerians were highly resilient, and I believe they have a hope on the President Tinubu. The renewed hope is just a little time, and let's see what Mr. President is going to in the next 1 year. Because he promised that when our refinery starts working out from December, he promised December. He's a promise keeper. Just like our governor in Ondo State, Mr. Tokantu. He has done it in Lagos. And let's continue to pray to God. Let's continue to appreciate. And work hard. So that Nigerians, we always push our problems to God instead of working.
Instead of working.
Instead of working and being truthful. And maintaining integrity. Because as far as I'm concerned, for me, I find it difficult along the line that every one of us is guilty as far as Nigerians is concerned.
Yeah, but some are more guilty than the others. For
because they are
given more guilty.
They give them the opportunity. They give them the opportunity. Take, for instance, all the senators that are there now, the rep members, all the commissioners now. Within the next one, maybe from this moment, they'll be given, our church, we are doing a harvest. My brother is doing a naming ceremony. I'm doing funeral. I'm doing this and that, this and that. Where do they expect them to get the money?
But they have the choice to say yes or no.
Let me tell you, if other persons are there, even if you are there, man, you discover that you cannot exonerate yourself from the Nigerian.
That would be an issue.
What I'm saying is that, President Tinubu promised a new Nigeria, and it's on the right path. And with the new ministers coming on board, at least the whole thing, all of them, they are burning with fire, with good policies and programs, at least to rejig the economy of this country. And we know that in the next 4 years, by the grace of God, God being our helper, Nigeria will be an Eldorado.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Felix Alunge. As I say to the governor of the state on social investment, it's nice having you on the show, and we believe that all that you have stake for the committee is that it's going to be as you've said it, and we hope that next time we call on you.
Yes, we'll give a success story.
Yes, next time we'll call on you. Yes. But we'll be talking about how far the palliative went.
So far, we're happy.
All right. Yes, this is the size of our package for you this morning on AM Today, and I believe that you'll be enlightened on the show for today. Till Friday again, when we'll be coming your way. My name is Folashade Ogido. Say bye for now.